I want to welcome you back. There is breaking news on a story that we have been following. It's about that oil leak in the Gulf of Mexico, and this is not good. Apparently, it is now much worse than we previously thought, and we've just gotten some information. Now, I got to tell you, Chad Myers already told us that he suspected this would happen, but the Associated Press has now come up with a full report saying essentially what Chad had intimated earlier. Chad, take it away.
Well, we knew that this was about 6 miles offshore, the leading edge of the oil, literally the leading edge of the initial tar balls that have broken off from the main oil slick, about 6 miles offshore. Winds blowing 15, 20 miles per hour. So you don't have to be an expert to figure out that you're going to probably move these tar balls at 2 or 3 miles per hour toward the land. And now it's going to be getting to land tonight as we suspected.
So they're saying it will get to land, and where?
Right there, Pilot Town.
That's Mississippi?
That is Louisiana. That's the Mississippi River.
Right.
But that's the very, very tip of the eastern, southeasternmost part of Louisiana. Nobody lives there except birds and marine life.
Oh, that's good.
That's good, right?
Yeah.
You have to get up to Venice, and you have to, even Pilot Town, there's only about 15 people there. There's not even a road to get to that town that you saw there.
Right.
But if you get up into Venice and you get up a little bit farther to the north, up on 23, that's when you begin to see the people. That's when you begin to see the people that will be affected by this. But it's more of a marine life situation.
So Pilot Town is just
right
the
now.
beginning of this thing.
That's where the pilots live.
No, I mean, you say the first part that's going to be impacted is Pilot Town.
Yes.
And then after Pilot Town?
Well, the whole National Wildlife Refuge that's there, that's going to be affected.
Oh.
So the oil, and then high tide comes in tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock with winds out of the southeast at 15 to 20.
Yeah, there's the map.
So this is just going to be really coming in.
So
there's the slick later today.
So that triangle right there, Chad, the apex of that triangle, that's pretty much where the origin point?
Well, I would say under the letter C is the middle of the slick. Is where the leakage is actually occurring. And for the most time, for 5, 7, 6, whatever days, all the winds have been blowing offshore, keeping that offshore.
Yeah.
But now the winds have turned around as we expected, and they're blowing it back onshore, right from the southeast. Yes, from the east to the west.
Right, so they're blowing it west right into that area there around New Orleans.
Right into the delta.
And what about Biloxi? What about Mobile? What about the Florida Panhandle as we see it just north of there?
Still 2 or 3 days away before it gets up there.
But you say 2 or 3 days away if it gets there, or it almost definitely will get there?
It will get there. Now, it will get there initially as these tar balls that you're familiar with in South Florida.
Yeah.
I don't even know where they come from in South Florida, but they show up all the time.
Because I'll tell you why. Because big giant ships clean their hulls offshore even though they're not supposed to, and they're the ones who cause that situation out there.
So these similar tar balls, I don't know, golf ball size, sometimes baseball size, will be in the delta tonight. And they'll be farther west tomorrow, and farther west and farther up that Highway 23 all the way for the next couple of days, then finally up to Biloxi, Bay St. Louis, all the way over to Pascagoula as it gets on up there. The longer it stays in the water, the longer the oil stays in the water, the thicker it gets, the easier it is to clean up. Exxon Valdez crashed on shore. So it had no time to evaporate. It just went right on shore, and you remember all those sickening pictures of all those dirty birds.
Right.
Well, that's not going to happen initially with this, because that oil's been out there floating around for a few days, evaporating, clumping, sludging, and so it's going to be a better situation than the Exxon Valdez, at least for now.
You a Falcons fan?
Some.
Dirty Birds?
Dirty Birds. Well, I remember that they were...
Couldn't help myself.
I know.
Thanks. Good explanation.
Thank you.
Keep us honest.